The streak is finally over for the Texans. Their long 9-game win streak stopped by another great day from Andrew Luck and the Colts.
Luck, pocket collapsing, fires left side of the end zone, has Pascal for the score.
I'll take you inside the Texans locker room with their take on today's streak snapper.
And I'm Randy McAvoy, Jerome Solomon for the Chronicle, here tonight to break it all down. Plus, we're going to look ahead to the Texans' crucial close the rest of the season.
Miami running around, circling, oh, look out!
And a wild day in the NFL. I mean, really wild. 3 weeks to go. Time to take a peek at the playoff picture and where the Texans fit in. Plus, take a look at these kicks. Sneakerhead PJ Tucker is now creating them. How hard will a pair of these hit your wallet? It's all coming up next on Sports Sunday.
Live from KPRC Channel 2, this is Sports Sunday, presented by Nissan.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Sports Sunday alongside Laney Fritz. I'm Adam Wexler. Randy McAvoy will join us shortly with Jerome Solomon on the analysis we haven't seen since September, Laney, a Texans loss.
76 days, and I'm going to give you some real crazy analysis right here. I saw this one coming for two simple reasons. One, a win streak has to be snapped at some point, and two, it is hard to beat a team twice in the NFL.
Yep, Colts on the front side of this winning streak. Now they are the streak snappers. Let's get into it. How it happened today for the Texans. Out at NRG Stadium, it was a slow start for both teams. Punts on the first 5 possessions. Texans do score first because everybody gets into the end zone. That's Alfred Blue with the touchdown. It was 7-zip Texans.
Yeah, second quarter, the Stratford kid heats up off play action here. Andrew Luck hits T.Y. Hilton for the 60-yard bomb, would lead to a short Colts touchdown run. Hilton, 199 yards receiving today. Colts score 17 unanswered to end the half, including this Luck to Ebron touchdown. Indy takes a 17-7 lead into the locker room.
Texans answer, though. That's a nice little squeeze into the end zone from Lamar Miller. That was a 4th and goal run for him. Not a great day, though, running the football, and Luck was just shredding the Texans all day. Had a pair of touchdowns and a 10-point lead into the 4th.
Yeah, Texans try to rally late in the 4th here when Deshaun keeps the play alive and finds D-Hop for 6. Houston down 3, so 2 minutes to go. Houston out of timeouts. This is 3rd and 1, and Luck gets Jadeveon Clowney to jump off sides. Automatic first down. We'll have more on that in a minute. The Texans lose 24-21, snapping their 9-game win streak.
It's the NFL. I mean, every game is tough. I mean, it's tough to go on 2-game win streaks. You know, we went on 9, and you know, today it ended. And, you know, it's a new task. You know, put this game behind us. Next week we're 0-0. Try to get 1-0, and just move on from it.
You see the big numbers here for Luck, 399 yards through the air. About half of those were to T.Y. Hilton, who continues to punish the Texans.
And 5 more sacks of Deshaun Watson, though he held the ball for forever today. Texans played turnover-free for the 6th time in 7 games. I was in the locker room after the game. Players said pretty simply, nothing fancy, nothing crazy. Colts just outplayed them today. It happens.
If you don't coach well enough, you don't play well enough, you're going to have a hard time beating anybody.
The Texans' inability to slow down Andrew Luck at the front of the line of today's problems hit just 5 times on nearly 50 dropbacks.
You know, he made some big-time throws today. You know, that's the type of guy he is. Like I said, there's a lack of execution on our end in certain situations, but, I mean, that's what happened when you play against a great quarterback.
Gets the ball out of his hands quick in a lot of situations. Can move around when he has to. Did a great job today. You have to give him a lot of credit.
The offense, uneven. The ground game, 8 carries from Lamar Miller and Alfred Blue went nowhere, or worse, went backwards. 7 of those were on first down, where the Texans weren't good.
I think they did a good job of just getting to the ball.
I mean, they put us behind the chain, so 2nd and long is tough in this league, and then we try to get half of it back, and, you know, 3rd down is a position where you want to be 3rd and short and try to give you a chance, opportunity to keep the chains moving.
Bottom line, the Texans got outplayed. May have seemed like by more than the 3-point margin, but so did many other games during the streak that had the other result.
You know, to go on a 9-game winning streak, you know, to make history, sometimes you get that little lapse going on, but I don't think that's what it was today. But I'm definitely sure the type of team we is. We responded from 0-3, so we definitely going to respond after this loss here with bigger things at stake going forward.
Coach O'Brien pretty blunt, saying they were terrible on first down. Very few sustained drives, 2 huge misses on deep throws from Watson. So there were plenty of missed opportunities.
Yeah, I mean, the Colts came in here with a great plan on defense. They executed it very well. They stopped the run, and they brought pressure to Deshaun Watson all game. He was sacked 5 times. And, of course, in that case, he wasn't as comfortable as we've seen him lately.
And you can see that throughout. A lot of exotic blitzes thrown at Watson today, just like the Browns did. The league will pick up on that. So back to that crucial penalty on Jadeveon Clowney. Texans knew it was likely coming, but after not falling for Luck's initial attempts to get the Texans to jump, he goes back under center a second time, and that's when Clowney can't help himself. The Colts line is smart enough to move this time. Whistle, ball game.
You know, we understand that he's going to try to get a hard count and get us to jump off sides, and we just got to understand that as a whole unit. And we just got to hold our water, move on when the ball moves. That's it.
JD all got, man. I mean, that stuff happens.
I've been there before, you know, big plays and stuff like that. He's a pass rusher, and, you know, we'd like to get off the ball and go make a play. That's all we want to do at the end of the day. For him, I feel bad too. But he's going to bounce back. Well, just like I had to bounce back whenever I had my plays, you know, throughout my career.
The terrible season tally on Clowney now. That's 4 neutral zone infractions this season, 3 offsides and an encroachment in just 13 games. So that's about 8 too many types of those pre-snap penalties.
Yeah, as Whitney said, though, he is a pass rusher. He's aggressive, and things like that are going to happen sometimes. So let's hear from Randy McIlvoy with Houston Chronicle columnist Jerome Solomon for more on this game.
Laney Wex, thanks. Talking more Texans now after this loss today at NRG Stadium, joined by the Chronicle's own Jerome Solomon. Good to see you again. And I guess sooner or later we thought this streak may end, and this was kind of the area a lot of people thought the Colts could come to town. They're going to be a dangerous team.
No, I figured they wouldn't lose until like the Super Bowl.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
I mean, no, the Colts are not as good as the Texans.
Yeah.
And you have them at home. This is the game the Texans are supposed to win. I mean, the Colts have lost 6 games, so it's not they played better, but we're not talking about a team that's going around beating up everybody in the NFL. And before they beat the Texans today, the only win that Indianapolis had over a winning team was over the Titans, who were just 7-6. Not an embarrassing loss, but a game the Texans should have got.
I think it was a missed opportunity early with the way the Colts came out offensively with 4 consecutive 3-and-outs, and you really don't take advantage of that very well.
Yeah, and the thing is, you know the Colts are going to figure it out. I mean, Andrew Luck's one of the best quarterbacks in the league, and they had him up 28-10 when they played in Indianapolis,
right.
And the Colts came back. So you expected them to get it going. But, yeah, you got a team with 4 3-and-outs, a team that didn't score any points last week, didn't score any points in the first quarter on you now, and you couldn't take advantage of it. And the reason was the Texans couldn't get their offense going.
All right, let's talk specifically. You said this is one of the keys that kind of stood out to you in the first half. The run game was not what we had been seeing in the recent weeks from the Texans, just 89 yards. But they really struggled on first down, especially that first half.
And that's a key to getting ahead of the chains, as Bill O'Brien likes to say. You want to get started so you'll have your quarterback in a position where he's got 3rd and short, 3rd and 3 or 4 yards. Instead, they were getting 2nd and 10, 2nd and 12, 2nd and 13. I mean, in the first half, at halftime, Lamar Miller had minus rushing yards. And between he and Alfred Blue, they had 6 carries for -5 yards on first down. That gets you behind. Your offensive line isn't good enough to pass block when it's all long yardage situation.
Well, even Deshaun said after the game, he graded himself out. The self-evaluation wasn't off the charts, but even in average, Deshaun Watson is still, I mean, he had a chance to win down the stretch. He was sacked 5 times, but give the Colts defense some credit. They really clamped down on DeAndre Hopkins.
Well, they shut down the run game, which means you would think, okay, if they're shutting down the running game, you ought to be able to throw the ball on. But no, they had a lot of coverage sacks too. So people were complaining about Deshaun Watson holding onto the ball too long. One reason he's holding on to it, no one is open, and that's happening over and over and over again. And they double teamed DeAndre Hopkins to take him out of play. Without Keke Coutee out there, who seems to always be open, they had Carter out there. He got a concussion early, so he was out of the game. So you had a lot of people out there. Joe Webb is out there running routes for you, and this is a guy who's
the third quarterback and a special teams guy.
Exactly, and so you know he doesn't get a whole lot of practice with the offense.
All right, Colts offense pretty one-dimensional as well. Andrew Luck threw it all day. Texas did a nice job slowing down their run game, but everywhere he turned, I mean, he had receivers open. T.Y. Hilton just owns the Texans every time he plays these guys.
He owns property here, and it's green and got lines on it and numbers on it. It's called NRG Stadium. And the day he had his second biggest game of his career, 199 yards. He's always open. Jonathan Joseph is a really solid professional cornerback. He's no match for T.Y. Hilton for some reason. He just, like sometimes in in boxing, there's a certain fighter has a style that you can't handle. Clearly, T.Y. Hilton is knocking J. Joe out every chance.
He's a fun player to watch, except when he plays the Texans. All right, you look ahead now, Jerome, as we wrap it up. You've got 3 games left. You go a short week. You go to the Jets on Saturday, at Philly right after that. Then you close it out with Jacksonville. How do you see this playing out? Because, you know, New England lost today. Things are so tight right now.
Well, it's an opportunity lost.
Yep.
You win today's game with the Patriots losing on that miraculous play in Miami, and the Texans would have been the 2 seed. We've been talking about that for weeks. That's what they should have been after. They would have the 2 seed right now, and they could win out and have it wrapped up. They have a 2-game lead on the division with 3 to play. Not even your Texans can blow that. I mean, they're going to win the division, but now they need the Patriots to lose another game. They have a shot. And the Chiefs almost lost today. They had to go to overtime. And so it was there for them. This is a blown opportunity, a pretty huge one. Most likely they're going to settle in as a division winner, play a home game in the playoffs, and then have to travel to Kansas City or New England that second week. So it's going to be a much tougher road for them to get lucky and go farther than they've ever gone.
All right, rest of December is going to be fun to watch in the AFC. It's so tight. Starts with the Jets, though, on Saturday. As always, he is Jerome Solomon from the Chronicle. We'll talk to you in a couple of weeks from Philadelphia.
All right.
All right, guys, thanks. More to come on the Texans still. But first, how about that wild finish from Miami? The Dolphins down 5, 7 seconds on the clock here, no timeouts. One last shot from 69 yards. You see Ryan Tannehill threw it to Kenny Stills, who dumped it off there to Kenyon Drake, who takes it all the way 52 yards past Gronk, as you see, who gets tripped up there and stumbles over. Drake scores on a miracle play in Miami to beat New England 34-33.
Was Belichick expecting a 70-yard pass? What's Gronk doing back there? How about this one, though? And another incredible day for Pat Mahomes, 377 yards. But did you see what he did there? You might have missed it, so look again. The very rare NFL no-look pass, and it's complete down the field to Demarcus Robinson, but they actually still were down, needing a touchdown with 80 seconds left and a 4th down conversion, and he gets it. The throw to Tyreek Hill, they'd end up putting it in the end zone after that, getting a field goal in overtime, which would win it for them, and they stay a game up on the Chargers, who are 10-3.
Man, that no-look across the body pass, I've never seen anything like that, Wex.
It's rare.
I really have not. In the NFC, Dallas looking for its 5th win in a row as they host the rival Eagles. It was tied in the 4th before Amari Cooper goes off. He catches 2 touchdowns, helps bail out Dak Prescott, who turned it over 3 times. Those 3 turnovers help send this one to overtime. That's where it happens. Cooper corrals it in the off deflection. Check it again. Wild way to win. Dallas takes it 29-23. They're now 8-5 on the year.
So 3 weeks to go, and as Bill O'Brien keeps saying, the Texans haven't done anything yet, but it's time to take a look at the AFC playoff picture. Are the Texans still in good position?
Plus, another game in Indy where T.Y. Hilton goes nuts. We'll check in with Tyrann Mathieu and Justin Reid on another big day for the Colts star wideout.
Today we did not combine the coverage and rush like we had been doing in previous games, and you know, if we're not covering well and the rush isn't getting home, or maybe it's one's happening and something else isn't happening, you know, we're going to have a hard time, and we've got to get back to that.
That's head coach Bill O'Brien talking about the Texans defense. Gave up 436 yards today. All but 50 of those were in the air. Andrew Luck with 399 yards passing. Now, all week, the Texans secondary talked about T.Y. Hilton and how important it would be to contain him. But, of course, that is much easier said than done. Obviously, Hilton went off 199 yards, including this 60-yard bomb from Andrew Luck, right on the money. And after the game, Justin Reid said that was a game plan route they had prepared for, but the Colts just caught them in the right coverage on the call.
We got to do a better job of eliminating the X plays, because teams rarely drive the length of the field on us unless they get a big play out of it. So the big thing for us is we got to go back to the film room and take away those big plays, because teams aren't going to drive 90 yards on our defense. It's just not going to happen.
We're not packing our bags just yet. I think you need to lose every now and then to really get a grip on what teams are trying to do to you.
I don't think they should pack their bags quite yet. 1 loss in 10 games, 9-1 in 10 games sounds pretty good, but T.Y. or not, the Texans gave up 400 yards for the second game in a row. They only allowed 400 yards once in the first 11 games of the season, but as they said, everything is still in front of them, but nothing guaranteed.
Yeah, we showed you highlights earlier, but among the top 6 teams AFC playoff picture, 4 of them were losers today, and now the best 2 teams are in the AFC West from what we talked about earlier in these 2 games. So let's start with talking about the Chiefs. Can the Texans beat this Chiefs team should they have to face them in the playoffs? Now, Mahomes averaging 327 passing yards a game. Tyreek Hill ranks 5th in receiving yards, and then you've got Travis Kelce has 16 20-plus yard catches on the season.
So a speed receiver, a great tight end, and an awesome quarterback. All things that are tough for any team to match up with, but especially the Texans, although the loss of Kareem Hunt has brought them back to the pack. That pack includes the Chargers, of course, and the Chargers just keep quietly rolling through this season. As you mentioned, they got the 2nd best record in the AFC.
Yeah, and the Chargers are doing a good job of starting these games off fast. They had 106 yards of offense and 2 touchdowns on their first 2 drives today. Phillip Rivers with 3,418 yards passing this season. Now, they're 10-3 going into Thursday night's game against the Chiefs. We just talked about 11-2, so that will be for the division lead.
Yeah, that'll essentially probably put the 1 seed and the 5 seed into place. The Patriots are somewhere in the mix. We mentioned clearly they lost, so they dropped to 9-4.
Like the Texans.
Still a first-place team.
Yeah.
They've seen the Texans quite a bit in the playoffs.
Yeah, and I'm not worried about Deshaun Watson and the Texans offense against the New England defense, but we all know Brady, he's a different animal in the playoffs, and the Texans don't fare too well against the Patriots. They're 1-10 all time against them.
They're also 0-0 with Deshaun Watson in New England in the playoffs.
Very true.
I'm going to go with that stat. 3 straight losses for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and they're flirting with falling out of the playoff picture. They lost to the Raiders today. So of this big picture we're trying to paint for you, don't be afraid of the Pittsburgh Steelers if they're in the playoffs, whether it's as that division champ or potentially as the Texans' first-round opponent as the 6th seed in the AFC.
Yeah, and really, I don't think the Texans should be afraid of anyone at this point. They can beat anyone. Today was a setback, but we've seen them reel off 9 straight wins, so they should have a lot of confidence at this point.
New York, Philadelphia on the road in the cold, and then back home for the Jaguars. Now, today, the Texans' home field advantage captain was Alex Bregman.
Everybody's favorite.
Of course. He had teammates Lance McCullers and Marwin Gonzalez there with him. Now, he already told us this week he liked the signing of catcher Robinson Chirinos, and today he said, don't close the book on the Astros' hopes of keeping Marwin just yet.
Super excited to see those guys, and I gave Marwin a hug because I missed him. And I think just the last few years was recruiting. We love Marwin, and you never know. He might end up staying. You never know.
If only Bregman was the GM of the Astros. As I've said all offseason, in my opinion, Marwin is the most important free agent to try to bring back. I'd also expect at this week's winter meetings, the team will be talking about a designated hitter and another starting pitcher.
Luka for 3. Again, Luka ties it up. Doncic pulls back, steps back, shoots for 3. That's amazing. 11 straight points for Luka Doncic.
Oh, man, he certainly does not play like a 19-year-old rookie. Luka Doncic, which an 11-0 run last night to hand the Rockets their 3rd loss in a row and 7th in the past 9 games, Wex. Things are getting no easier for Houston this week. They're back at Toyota Center Tuesday, where they've got Portland, and then we've got the Lakers Thursday, and then the Grizzlies.
Yeah, the Grizzlies, how they're up there, I can't figure out. But the Lakers are actually pretty good. They've won 14 of their last 19, and obviously when the Lake Show comes to town, that can be a good time.
Yeah, tonight, though, they weren't talking about basketball. It was actually P.J. Tucker making a stop at Giuseppe Zanotti. Making sure I say that
Giuseppe Zanotti.
Giuseppe Zanotti, Houston Boutique. P.J., a self-proclaimed sneakerhead, unveiling his new shoe, which is retailing for a measly $995. The special edition sneaker was co-created with Zanotti, and Tucker was also talking about hoops. He says this 11-14 Rockets record, not worried about it. They'll get things turned around.
We're getting better. It's a new team. Everybody keeps talking about last year. We got a new team this year, and we're figuring it out, just like a lot of other teams in the NBA right now. A lot of teams figuring it out, and at the end of the day, it's about getting hot later in the season and being able to be the best team we can be in April.
Now, we showed you the shoes, and that's what it's going to take, a lot of that to get them. I understand who they're marketed to. Can you think of anything else you could spend $1,000 on?
Well, I gotta admit, I've spent $1,000 on shoes a few times before, so I
In case you were wondering.
What would you rather spend $1,000 on?
It's got to be the shoes.
The shoes do look good, though. They look good. I'm gonna admit. I was waiting to see them, and I think everybody respects PJ's sneaker
Huge
game.
sneakerhead, yeah.
Yeah, so I think people will go out and buy them. We'll see.
Those sneakers will be in a closet full right there at PJ's humble abode. Now, still to come, the state semis. They're set in high school football, and Houston has 3 teams just a win away from playing for a title. We'll run them down next.
This is Sports Sunday, presented by Nissan.
4th down and 12. The Buffaloes need to get to the 35 to convert. Once again, a trick play. Now going to go down the field, tries to get a man. That one caught by the receiver. Unbelievable catch, still on his feet, and will march into the end zone for a touchdown to take the lead.
What an unreal finish in the 5A quarterfinals for Ben Marshall. That score, with just seconds left on the clock, beats Huntsville 47-43, earns him a spot in the state semis. The Buffaloes will play Friday night in San Antonio.
That one kind of hurt my heart. You know, I was born in Huntsville.
I knew you've been in Huntsville. I didn't know you were born in Huntsville.
So I was kind of pulling for the Hornets, but
they put up a good fight. But they're not the only local unbeaten. The Marshall Buffaloes are not the only local unbeaten. Jimbo Fisher on hand last night to watch as North Shore racked up 5 touchdowns from one guy, Zach Evans. They knocked off the defending state champs, Cy Fair, and now they're going to play at NRG Stadium for a 3rd straight game. They're playing Lake Travis this Saturday. The first of 2 games, they play at 2 p.m.
Yeah, and how about all the guys over at Shadow Creek? They have been so impressive this season. Their first year as a varsity program, and now they're in the 5A semifinals. Quarterback Jamarian George with 3 straight TD runs as the Sharks score 18 unanswered to beat Foster for a 2nd time. They remain undefeated, and the Sharks will take on San Antonio Wagner Saturday at 6 p.m. inside of NRG Stadium. So one final timeout for us at Sports Sunday wraps up, and we'll be back right after this.
So the win streak for the Texans is over. What's your concern level about today's loss?
No concern. I think today was more about what the Colts did well and less about what the Texans did bad.
And that's what it sounded like in the Texans locker room after the game. Now, if Sam Darnold does it to the Texans on Saturday,
then we can be concerned.
A little bit different story. We will be on Facebook Live shortly. We appreciate all of you joining us here tonight. Great week ahead of us. Thanks for watching.
Get on Facebook and join us.